Hi guys, in this episode of Shri series, we're going to be talking about simultaneous equations and using the process of elimination to work out two questions. So I've got one question here, and in the next whiteboard, I've got another question here. All right. Now, like I said before in the previous video, there are two main methods of solving simultaneous equations using the basic processes of algebra. One is substitution. Alright, so if you looked at my previous videos on Shri series, we looked at solving simultaneous equations using the process of substitution. Today we're going to be looking at solving simultaneous equations using the process of elimination. Alright, so a bit of a background. So what are simultaneous equations? Like I'd explained before, this is where you solve two unknown letters, in this case x and y, on two pairs or pairs of equations. All right. Now, what does elimination mean in mathematics? In mathematics, or more specifically in simultaneous equation, elimination means getting rid of either x or y. All right. So we've got two pair of equations here. We've got a pair of equation here. So we've got x plus y equals 6 and 3x minus y equals 10. So what I'll do is, just like the previous questions, I'll put that as equation 1 and I'll put that as equation 2. So equation 1 is x plus y equals 6 and equation 2 is 3x minus y equals 10. Now, we have a choice. We can either eliminate x or we can either eliminate y. So what we need to do is, when we eliminate either x or y, we remain with the other. It makes sense, right? So I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So suppose we get rid of y. What happens is we eliminate y and therefore we have x to solve. Okay, now looking at this, what can we do to make sure that we can eliminate? All right, so I like to advise students to put a line there so we're aware what we're going to be doing. Okay, now I can see there's a y and there's a y there, and what comes in my mind is when I subtract y and y, we get 0. So technically we are eliminating y. So what I like to do is I like to put a sign there just to tell you what we're going to be doing. So I'll put a plus there, and I'll explain to you why I'm going to put a plus, because I want to get rid of y. All right, so if you look at it carefully, what we're doing is we're getting y plus minus y. Now, if you're confused, I like to explain this way. Why don't you make that which is vertical into a horizontal? So in that way, you're able to understand. So if you look at y, we're trying to get rid of y, and why I've put a plus there is because y plus minus y equals 0. And we can try that out. So say, I'll just put an asterisk here just to show you what I'm going to be doing. So that's going to be y plus minus y. That becomes y minus y, and therefore that is 0. Okay. Now, I've had students make the mistake by putting a minus here in place of a plus. So instead of putting a plus, they put a minus. Now, you got to look at why that is wrong. Because if you say y minus minus y, that ends up becoming plus y, which is 2y, and I'm going to show you why that is 2y. So you got y minus y becomes y plus y, and therefore that becomes 2y. So we don't want to be using minus, we want to use plus. All right, so our operation that we're going to be using is we're going to be doing plus in this operation here. Okay, so just up there. Great. So cancel that, and I'm going to put a plus here. All right, so y plus minus y is 0. So the beauty about it is you don't need to put a 0 because we know we've eliminated y. Okay, now the reason why I'm putting a line here is to show you that I'm using the same operation, which is a plus. So just like we had y plus minus y, we're going to be doing x plus 3x, and x plus 3 is x, basic algebra, that is 4x. And 6 plus 10 is going to be 16. All right. So what do? We go x plus 3x, which is 4x, and 6 plus 10 is equal to 16. And we want to get x, we divide it by 4. And therefore, x is equal to 4. All right. Now, we need to find the y value. So in this situation, we can get the value of x as 4 and put it either in equation 1 or put it in equation 2. And like I said before in the previous videos, you want to put it in an equation that makes your life easy. All right, so personally, I'm happy to put it in equation 1. So I'm putting a double tick there just to show you what I'm going to substitute x as for in. Okay, so I'm going to put x plus y equals 6. And I know very well x is equal to 4. So 4 plus y is equal to 6. And therefore y is equal to 6 minus 4, which is 2. So the value of y is equal to 2 and the value of x is equal to 4. If I'm not sure whether I've got my answer right, put the value of x as 4 and put the value of y as 2 in both the first and the second equation. Alright, so x is equal to 4 plus 2. You're going to get 6, so our answer is correct. How about we put it in the second equation? 3 times 4, which is 12, and 12 minus 2 is 10, and therefore our answer is correct. All right, so this is how we solve simultaneous equations via the process of elimination. We decide which to eliminate, either x or y, and then we choose the operation. Looking at this, we eliminated y, and therefore we use addition as an operation. So in other words, you need to add for consistency, and the rest is equations. Let's move on to another question. All right, slightly different. Okay, oops, I think it's this one here. There you go. All right, so let's look at this set of equation, or this pair of equation. All right, 3x plus 2y equals 6. So we'll put that as equation 1. And 5x plus 3y equals 11 as equation 2. Now, we've got a task. We need to get rid of either x or y. Now, in the previous equation or pair of equations, it was pretty straightforward. But here, we can't subtract or add to get 0 here. So what we need to do is we need to make some adjustments. Okay? Now, I can see I've got a 2 there. And if I multiply by 3, I can get 6. And I've got a 3 there, and I can multiply by 2 and I can get 6. So what I'll do is, I can get 2 multiplied by 3 and I can get 6, and I can get 3 multiplied by 2, I can get 6, and therefore when I subtract, I'm actually getting rid of y. Alright, so what I'll do is, I'll just use a different color. I'm going to multiply that by 3 and I'm going to multiply that by 2. Alright, so just draw it properly. Let me draw a 2 properly, so that becomes a 2. Therefore, please remember that when you multiply 2 by 3, you're multiplying throughout. As you remember, you got to be consistent. Whatever you do on your left-hand side, you also got to do it on your right-hand side. Alright, so if you're multiplying 3 here, you also got to multiply 6 by 3 in that one here. Does that make sense? So let's now work that out. So what's my new answer going to be? 9x plus 6y equals 6. 10x plus 6y equals 22. All right, so basic multiplication. 3 times 3x, 9x, 3 times 2y is 6y, and 3 times 6 is 18. Sorry, I made a mistake there. That's going to be 18. And 2 times 5 is 10x, and 2 times 3y is 6y, and 2 times 11 is 22. So what do we do there? All right. Now, we've seen there's a 6y and a 6y. When I subtract 6y minus 6y, or 6y from 6y, we're going to get 0. So what I'll do is I'll put another line and show that my operation is minus. So 9x minus 10x becomes negative x. And 18 minus 22 becomes negative 4. Therefore, and I'll just move that there, just to create some space. Therefore, x is equal to 4. All right, so x is equal to 4 in this equation. Now, we need to find the value of y. Now, we can choose either to put the value of x in the first equation, or we can put it in the second equation. You want to put it in an equation that is easy to solve, so I will pick 1. All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to write down 3x plus 2y equals 6, and in place of x I'm going to put 4. So that's going to be 3 times 4 plus 2y equals 6, and that's going to be 12 plus 2y equals 6, and 2y is going to be 6 minus 12, and I'll just put an asterisk just to show where we're going to go. So 2y equals negative 6, therefore y equals negative 3. All right, so I've got x equals 4 and y equals negative 3. All right, now I want to prove that x is equal to 4 and y is equal to negative 3 and put them in both the equations. Please remember, you got to stick to the original equation. All right, so what do? 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So 12 minus 6 is 6. What about 5 times 4? That's 20. And 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. So 20 minus 9 is equal to 11. So with this question, from here onwards, it's exactly the same process as the first question. All we needed to do was to multiply the top number by a certain number and the bottom number by another number. And then when we subtract or add, we get 0. We eliminating. All right. So in this case, we eliminated y to get x, and then we put in the original equation. All right. Just a few things. If you don't know how to multiply with your certain numbers, this question is going to be tricky. If you don't know your basic linear equations, this question is going to be tricky, especially with this bit here. All right. So it's very important that you understand the basic processes of algebra and especially linear equations. So if you look at how we worked out the first question, it was exactly the same. We used linear equations. We eliminated, we got either x or y. In this case, we eliminated y to get x, all right? And that's how we solve simultaneous equations via elimination. In the next set of videos, we'll practice more questions in order for students to gain confidence. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye now.